Greetings, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Everybody has those days. And today, I thought we would have a look at some of those mistakes that everybody makes. Except, these aren't typically mistakes that everybody makes, but they're mistakes that someone has made. And it's always a good time to have a look at other people messing up, to feel a little bit better about ourselves. Which is why today I thought we would have a look through the TIFU subreddit. Today I effed up. I'm still trying not to swear thing. It's probably not going very well. I've probably slipped up a ton of times by now, but you know what? I'm gonna keep trying anyway, because it's a challenge, and I like a good challenge. Before we do get into people's fantastic mistakes, I would like to say a massive thank you to today's patron of the day, Ari. I appreciate your support so much. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope that you enjoy this video. And if anyone else would like to become a patron, you go to patreon.com/savvycat, click the top link in the description. Starts at as little as £1 a month, and I appreciate it greatly. Okay. Let's get into some mistakes that people have made. Today, I effed up by buying a laptop that only works with women, or a man if they had a shower or a bath before using it. So, the story started like 4 weeks ago when we decided to buy a new laptop for my wife. I found one on a very popular marketplace, a Dell 7430 i7 16GB model that should be over £600 or $700. This was only £150, pristine condition, and warranty just expired a week ago, but it was advertised as a bit hectic machine. Bought it as I thought whatever the problem is, I'll fix it. I have worked with hardware for a long time and always found challenging to find problems, so I thought that would be easy. I went and asked if there was anything wrong with it, and she said her husband can't use it as it always turns off when he is using it. She's never had a problem, and Dell said nothing was wrong with it. It does not like to work with the husband, that's all. I thought I never heard more stupid explanation for a laptop sale, but whatever. Bought it. Took it home, switched it on, started installing fresh Windows 11, then a minute later the machine went to sleep mode. I was like, okay, this could happen, so don't worry about it. Carry on installing, 5 minutes later, sleep mode. I started to worry, and at the same time started to think what that could be. With all the updates, it took me about 4 hours to finish Windows 11, and the laptop went to sleep about 20 times. Then my wild ride started. I went to have a shower and came back downstairs to polish the system up for my wife, and the machine worked as it should. Finished it all, then handed it to my wife. All went well until Friday evening. I sat back to it to do some work on a charity website. Laptop went to sleep straight away. I was like, whack-a-frap. Wanted to finish the job on it, but kept going to sleep every 2 minutes. I asked my wife if that happened to her too, and she said that it didn't. So I got her to sit down and work on it, and nothing happened. The laptop worked properly without any issue. Then I went there, 30 seconds later, laptop went to sleep. Imagine my face. I thought, this laptop is sexist AF. I got very confused, went upstairs, took a shower, came back down. It worked. I'm not religious, not a believer. I don't believe in ghosts or flat earth. I love maths, physics, so you can imagine how confused I was. Anyway, I finished the job without any glitch. Next morning, I went downstairs to see the lovely laptop that has a soul. Guess what? Started to go to sleep as soon as I approached it. It felt like whenever I hovered my hand near the shift, it went to sleep. I have updated drivers, deleted keyboard generic driver, installed specific one, changed power settings, nothing worked. Did the same thing. You know what? I got confused that evening. I went to take a shower just to please my wife's laptop. Don't laugh. I do. Came back downstairs, worked again. Again. That cannot be a coincidence. More confusion. A lot more. Then I woke up this morning, ignored the birds chirping that came from the outside. I have not even fed my spider. So he was looking at me very grumpy all day today. All I did was storm downstairs, switch the little miserable bastard on, then oh boy, it went to sleep in a minute. I was looking at the black screen and seeing my face in all its confidence and years of experience slowly leaving my brain through my cloudy eyes, along with my soul. This cannot be. This is impossible. So what can a man do? I went to get a morning bath. I said, do not laugh. Especially because when I came back, It worked. I stopped working on the problem and given up. Also started to browse eBay for a Bible and joined the Flat Earthers on Facebook. I'm joking, but I've probably never been closer to these things before. I did not touch that devil again today and went to sleep at 9 p.m. Then suddenly, I woke up 2 hours later, just before I wrote this post, and a little light bulb lit up in my head. When I have a shower, I always take my bracelets off, and my bracelet has a tiny magnet thing in it, but I put it back on every morning. I swirled down with my bracelets and the laptop worked as it should. I ran back up, put the bracelets on, and had to go again, and the laptop started to go to sleep again. There you go. I almost started to worship a laptop, and there it is. Physics, the inglorious thing that thinks I'm closing the lid when the magnet gets close to the sensor. Hope you enjoyed this story as much as I enjoyed squeezing my brain the past 3 days. Thank you for reading it. That's so funny. That's probably one of my favorite posts ever, just because that's absolutely hilarious. Imagine thinking that your laptop just has a thing against men. Like, that's so funny. Just because it happened to the other person too. Because in an update, he said that the people he got it from, the man, he wore an Apple Watch, which has a magnetic clasp. So it's just absolutely hilarious that this happened to two sets of people back to back. And the funniest part though, is that the first people like didn't figure it out. And instead they just, they sold the laptop and lost like 500 pounds on it because they were like, it hates men, so we don't want it anymore. That's, I just am obsessed with just accepting that as fate and accepting that as fact. Being like, well, the laptop hates men, so we got to get rid of it. May as well get like 100 pounds out of it. We've just got to warn them that it won't work for men. Obsessed. I'm obsessed with it. Oh my God. It's funny because like I would have done the same thing. It would have taken me so long to figure it out. I also probably would have been confused as hell and not pieced together that it was my magnetic bracelet for way too long, like an embarrassingly long amount of time. But God, that's funny. And that whole moment, I find it, we all have those moments where you go to bed, you finally get comfortable, you're starting to fall asleep, and suddenly you're like, oh my God, I've just solved the answer to the universe. You have to get up and go do something immediately. Well, I'm glad you got it working. I'm glad you figured out that the laptop is not specifically for use by women and people who are freshly bathed. Oh, that's brilliant. That's fantastic. Sorry. Hecking fantastic is what that is. Today, I effed up by telling my girlfriend my type. Obligatory happened a couple months ago, but realized I screwed up this morning. Some time back, I brought up the topic of types. I mentioned it because her best friend and I seemed to be damn near to the exact same individual, just of different genders, and I joked that she must have a type. She took it a bit more seriously than I intended and proceeded to tell me she wasn't sure she had a type, but she did like it when men were comfortable with expressing femininity and that she thought tattoos were cool. Then she asked me my type, and I told her that generally it's been curvy blonde girls with long hair, big chests, and blue eyes. She lightly teased me for having a basic taste, and we moved on. I'm sorry. That was so specific. Unless you are specifically describing what your girlfriend looks like, just to be like, you're my type, babe. That's way too specific. And yeah, a very general society tells you that's what your ideal type should be kind of type. The past couple of months, she's been asking for constant reassurance, asking if I'm sure I like her immediately after moments of intimacy, asking if I find her attractive, etc. She also stopped coming with me to the gym, which was strange because she loves weightlifting and has lost a lot of her muscle tone. This morning, a woman walked past our car at a red light. I sincerely didn't notice her, but my girlfriend said, "Wow, look at her. She's exactly your type." I hadn't thought about that conversation since it happened, but everything made sense instantly. I told my girlfriend that she was my type. She said, "Not even close," and started crying. I have only seen her cry one other time in the 4 years I've known her. My girlfriend is tall, flat-chested, muscular, and has short brown hair and brown eyes. She's beautifully androgynous, and occasionally people mistake her for a very pretty teenage boy. I love and am attracted to every bit of this about her more than any other type that exists because she's her. She said when she spoke about her type, she said she described a vague style pretty much anyone could embody, and I do dress and style myself a bit adventurously for a man. Meanwhile, I described an individual person she was in no way ways similar to, but always felt like she expected to be. She said she couldn't get herself to go to the gym anymore because she'd tell herself I was checking out other girls. I glanced sometimes, but not egregiously, and we used to do this together. And all she could think about was how unlike my ideal type she was. That one throwaway conversation has been eating away at and completely wrecked her self-esteem for months, and I only just realized. Looking back, she definitely did try to bring it up once before early on, but I brushed it off with, "You're perfect for me, baby. Don't worry about stupid stuff," not understanding how bad she was feeling. Some people are just so clueless. Like, so clueless. How did you not realize something was going on sooner? How did you not have a conversation? Like, you explicitly describe your type as someone who is the complete opposite to your girlfriend, like to her face. And then suddenly she starts feeling insecure and expressing that insecurity and asking, do you think I'm pretty? Do you actually love me? Like, are you actually attracted to me? And you don't make the connection. You aren't able to like connect what happened and how this happened. You don't bring it up. You don't try to have a conversation. And when she does, you shut it down. Oh my God. You know, being able to answer your ideal type and explaining an individual straight to your girlfriend who doesn't match that and not seeing the issue with that is absolutely wild. Like, that's wild. Especially because knowing she, has probably had these insecurities for a long time based on what the media tells us we're meant to look like. Having that enforced that that's what you would rather her look like, or having it come across that way, it's definitely not going to help anything at all. And also just a little side note. People mistake her for a very pretty teenage boy. I love and am attracted to every bit of this about her. It's just really odd to me to use that wording straight after. I feel like you shouldn't say she looks like a teenager directly followed by I am attracted to this about her. Like, I feel like that probably wasn't done on purpose, but I think you should definitely watch your wording and really like think about that for a second. Although, I mean, I guess maybe they're teenagers. It doesn't say. So if you're teenagers, then I suppose that's fine. But if you're not teenagers, that's a very odd thing to say. But like, God, yeah. So basically what we shouldn't be doing is explaining really specific types of people as our ideal types, especially to people we are in relationships with, especially when they don't fit that type. And then also, like, don't be ignoring our partner's insecurities and issues that are very, very evident, but you keep pushing away. So yeah, today you did screw up. You screwed up a few months ago and you've been screwing up every day until this day also. Today I effed up by saying hi to my neighbor's friend. So I moved to a small town where everyone knows everyone and hang out at the local bar. My next door neighbor is warm and welcoming, which makes this even worse. I got home from work late one day, and as I reached the top floor of the stairs, a naked guy was standing in her doorway. He was apparently waiting for her to come home and thought that I was her. When he saw his mistake, he slammed the door. Later, I met my neighbor at the local bar, hanging out with a big group of friends. I saw the naked guy among them, so I decided to say hi. I wanted to goof about the awkward meet and said, "Hi, nice to see you again with more clothes on. No worries about the situation." The group got real quiet and another guy stared at me. I walked out of the situation knowing that I'd said something wrong. Now I know. My neighbor's boyfriend was the guy staring. The naked man was her lover. I will never goof around again with people I don't know. And then to explain the building situation, it's a building with 2 floors. We live upstairs and share a hall with 4 apartments. There are 2 staircases. Me and the neighbors use the same stairs and the 2 others use the other stairs. Okay, well, you know what? This is entirely on them, obviously. Imagine just having the goal to just expect it to be your lover coming home. You live in a building that have 4 apartments. So there are 3 other apartments. And you hear someone come home and you decide it's a good idea to just open the door and stand in the doorway fully naked because you just assume that it's your partner. Bro, that was just a real mess up on your part. That was just a really stupid thing to do. That's asking to be caught, actually. Like, that could have been anyone. That could have been her boyfriend, for all you know. Like, that could have been literally anyone. That felt like trying to expose yourself. because like you didn't know who it was going to be. There are other people that live in this building. But God, the awkwardness there. I think that was the absolute appropriate way to approach the situation. And now, you know, you've started a conversation that most definitely needed to be had. So, yes, you harmed but helped a relationship at the same time. You know, sometimes you need a third party stepping in. This was decided by fate. You were meant to come in here and break this couple up and start drama. Although I wish you so much luck. You live in a small town where everyone hangs out at the bar and you've like ruined your neighbor's relationship. You obviously didn't ruin it. They ruined it. She ruined it herself. But that's not how they view it, right? So I'm wishing you all the luck, because that sounds like one hell of an awkward situation. Today I effed up by calling my cat pretty. I, 26 male, have a cat, Susan, 7 female. She's the absolute love of my life. I've had her for 5 years. We had an immediate bond and she's been with me through thick and thin. I may be biased, but she's also a very pretty cat. She's a brown and orange calico with a white belly and legs, and she has a very pretty face. I compliment her all the time because I love her so much and I want her to know how much I love her, even if she can't understand English. That is so real. Yeah, as you should. That is exactly what she deserves. My girlfriend, 25F, who I will call Liz, and I have been together for about 2 months now. She's not the biggest cat person, and Susan is very shy, so it's taken Susan a bit of time to warm up to Liz. She's not aggressive to Liz or anything. She just hides when Liz comes over and occasionally just peeks her head out to see if Liz is gone yet. Lately, Susan's been coming out more when Liz is over, and she's even started going to Liz for pets. Whenever Susan comes out when Liz is around, I do turn my attention to Susan so that she has a positive association with Liz. I'll stop and pet her if she's close enough, or I'll say, "Hi, pretty girl," when she peeks her head out. That's not to say I don't give Liz ample of attention when we're together. I'm seldom on my phone around Liz. I give her lots of physical affection and compliments when appropriate. Yesterday, I had Liz over and we were watching Family Guy together. We were cuddling and just zoned out on the couch together when Susan came out and climbed in my lap. I started petting her and telling her how much I love her, as I usually do. Here's where I screwed up. As I was petting Susan and talking to her, I told her she was the most beautiful girl in the world. Liz got up and went to the bathroom, and I didn't think much of it, even when she was in there for a while. When she came out, she was clearly upset. I asked her what was wrong, and she accused me of being a weirdo who loves his cat more than the actual human woman sitting next to him. I was honestly kind of dumbfounded because 1, we haven't gotten to the I love you stage yet, and 2, it's my cat, and I honestly do love Susan more than Liz, which is something I knew I shouldn't say in that moment. But also, I wasn't about to lie or be pressured into saying something I'm not ready to say yet. So I sat there, just staring at Liz for a moment until she huffed, grabbed her keys, and left. After about an hour, I went to text her to see if she made it home alive, only to find she had blocked me. I was upset, but Susan is incredibly empathetic to me and came running to sit with me. As of now, Liz hasn't unblocked me, so I guess I'm single again? Good riddance, I guess. If you are feeling jealous over a cat, you need to seek therapy. Is really what needs to happen here. You should never feel jealous over a cat. That is not something that should ever go through you, that you should ever feel, because you really have to understand that those are very obviously 2 very different things. This is such a normal way to speak to your cat and show affection to your cat, and in my opinion, personally, is a big green flag. If I'm with someone who is cuddling up with their cat and calling them the most beautiful girl in the world and how much they love them, I am like swooning. Getting jealous over it? There's really no need for that. Especially I love coming out and being like, you love your cat more than me. Like, well, yeah, my cat is my child, and I've only known you for 2 months. So, yes. But like, yeah, we're not gonna get into that. Smart move. But on that, right, I don't understand blocking people, right? I get blocking people sometimes, but I always read these stories and you always come across things and you see it on Twitter and you see it everywhere. People are like, I blocked them. I blocked their number. We had this small argument and I blocked their number. And that's just baffling to me. I mean, maybe I'm the weird one, but like I've never blocked, I've never blocked a number short of like, it's the actual end of a relationship. And even then, I've only done it like 1 time and it was my abuser. Like, that's the only number I've ever blocked outside of like spam numbers. I don't understand. Just mute the chat. If you intend on having a conversation to fix it later, just mute notifications. Why do you need to block them? That just feels so passive aggressive to me. He didn't do anything wrong here. Nothing, nothing went wrong. If you don't want to see the messages, just mute the chat and then open it later when you're ready to look at the messages and reply. It just seems so immature to me to just block people because you've had a little argument, especially before you reach some sort of resolution. If you intend on finding a resolution, just say you need time and mute the chat. I don't understand. Why are you blocking someone over this? I don't get it. Am I using the block feature wrong? To me, blocking feels like permanent. I never unblock people. If I'm blocking you, I'm blocking you. There is an update on this, but it is very long. So I'll just give like the brief summary of what the update is. Basically, they did have a conversation. Liz went back over and they talked about it. And she admitted to feeling very silly for being jealous over a cat, which is good because it is quite silly to be jealous over a cat. And basically this came from this person, this guy who made the post is polyamorous and bisexual. And Liz is also bisexual and was in a polyamorous relationship as well. So thought that she wanted to be polyamorous again. But turns out the polyamorous relationship she was in, the relationship was opened up by her partner. And she thought she was fine with it. She actually wasn't. She got really jealous over the other partner and she was made to feel insignificant and like she wasn't as important or desirable anymore. And so she left that relationship obviously with a lot of insecurities. And so coming into this relationship, having insecurities and hearing him talk to a cat, someone else, by calling them the most beautiful girl in the world and giving them attention made her jealous because of these insecurities that she came into this relationship with, which, like sucks, like it sucks to have been in a relationship where you don't feel desired and where you feel tossed aside, when polyamory doesn't work for you. And I'm glad that it was acknowledged that it was a bit ridiculous to get jealous of a cat. And they had a conversation and she decided that she needs a monogamous relationship. He was like, I can't give you a monogamous relationship. So that's where this ended. So to Liz and to anyone in a situation like this, I say, work on your insecurities before going into a relationship. Know what you want and be able to have conversations about it. And don't get jealous over animals. If you are insecure enough to which your partner calling their cat beautiful is making you feel insecure, you need to do something about that because it absolutely that should never happen. So yeah, sir, you didn't really up. I understand it sucks to like upset someone, but I'm glad you recognize that like nothing was on you. You literally did nothing wrong. And I hope that Susan, which is a fucking brilliant name for a cat, is doing well. I love people who name animals just like old lady names. It's ridiculous. It's so funny to me. Like Susan, that's a ridiculous name for a cat. I'm kind of obsessed with it. Today I effed up by punishing the sandwich thief with super spicy Carolina Reaper sauce. In a shared hangar with several workshops, my friends and I rented a small space for our new knife making enterprise. For a year, our shared kitchen and fridge functioned harmoniously, with everyone respecting one another's food. However, an anonymous individual began stealing my sandwiches, consuming half of each one, leaving bite marks as if to taunt me. Initially, I assumed it was a one-off incident, but when it occurred again, I was determined to act. I prepared sandwiches with an extremely spicy Carolina Reaper sauce, a teaspoon in each, leaving a note warning about the consequences of stealing someone else's food, and went out for lunch. Upon my return, chaos reigned. The atmosphere was one of panic, and a woman's scream cut through the commotion, accompanied by a child's cry. The culprit turned out to be our cleaner's 9-year-old son, who she had been bringing to work during his school's disinfection week. He had made a habit of pilfering from the fridge, bypassing the healthy lunches his mother had prepared in favor of my sandwiches. The child was in distress, suffering from the intense spiciness of the sauce. In my defense, I explained that the sandwiches were mine and I'd spiked them with the hot sauce. The cleaner, initially relieved by my explanation, suddenly became furious, accusing me of trying to harm her child. This resulted in an escalated situation, with the cleaner reporting the incident to our landlord and threatening police intervention. The incident restrained relations within the other workshops, siding with the cleaner due to her status as a mother. Consequently, our landlord has given us a month to relocate, adding to our financial struggles. My friends, too, are upset with me. I maintained my innocence, arguing that I had no idea the child was the food thief, and I would never intentionally harm a child. Nevertheless, it seems I am held responsible, accused of creating a huge problem for a seemingly trivial situation. The child is okay, no harm to the health was inflicted. It still was just an edible sauce, just very, very spicy. The crime here, the thing that you did wrong, the actual screw up that took place, was admitting you did it on purpose. Like, if you'd have just said you liked spicy sandwiches, then, like, nothing could have happened, right? None of this would have happened. If you'd have just claimed, like, those are my sandwiches. He shouldn't have eaten my sandwiches if he didn't want spicy food. Like, those are my sandwiches. I'm sorry that your child is hurt, but I like my sandwiches spicy, you know? Like, no one can fault you for that because maybe you just enjoy spicy food. As you say, it is an edible sauce that exists. Some people enjoy eating it, and a kid stole it and ate it. But by saying that you spiked it and admitting that you spiked it, people can then turn it and say that you knew it was the child, that you were, you know, deliberately trying to harm someone. And since it was a child, you were deliberately trying to harm a child. I think it is quite ridiculous that it escalated to the point of having to be, like, evicted from your workspace, considering technically you didn't really do anything wrong, right? Like, I think that leaving a note or having a conversation would have been a more mature thing to do. Like, talking to people about boundaries. But also, realizing now, this only happened twice. And, like, twice is annoying. But it's this funny thing of, like, the kid was only out of school for a week. So it would have only been, like, 2 more days anyway, because there were only, like, 2 more work days. And then it would never have happened again anyways. If this person had just waited, like, a few extra days to try again, nothing would have happened. But, you know, so is life, I suppose. Today I effed up by sending a meme to our company president. Burner account because I'm so embarrassed. I, 30 male, work for a very niche company in a very niche industry. I got lucky because it's a pretty stable gig in one of my favorite cities in America and it pays really well. I think that might be over. I'm out of town for work and our company secretary needed my receipts for my company card. I'd spent the entire day driving, so I was absolutely exhausted by the time I got to my hotel. I typed up the email, attached all the receipts, scheduled the email to send in the morning, and went to bed. The next morning, I woke up to an email from my company's VP that stated, "We don't care how your butt looks, we need all your receipts." Absolutely baffled, I checked the email from last night, and I had mistakenly sent a meme that said, "Me checking my ass out in the mirror before leaving the house," and had a sign in the restaurant that said, "Is it hot? Does it look good? Are you proud to serve it?" I had sent this email to our company president, vice president, and secretary. Mortified, I immediately puke out of embarrassment in the middle of a store. I have a panic attack in the parking lot. I call my parents. I'm completely inconsolable. I email them the correct receipts and apologize profusely. I've made a litany of mistakes at my job in the past month and my superiors are already fed up with me. I'm almost certain that when I return to my office, I will be out of a job. I'm the youngest person in the company by nearly a decade. I'm sure I offended someone. This also comes on the heels of one of the worst months of my professional career and an office dispute. I've only been with the company 90 days and I've never been so constantly on edge. This is the icing on the cake. Edit, I completely overreacted. VP thought it was hilarious. Our secretary actually printed out the meme and posted it at her desk. They have full faith in me to do my job well. They also told me to just relax. I'm doing about as well as they expect me from a 90-day hire with no prior experience and commended me on the jump. More like a hop, but still. In profits since I joined the team. Thank you all for your encouragement. Well, I'm very glad it had a good ending. I was gonna say, once I got to the end, I was gonna say, like, surely they understand that it was an accident. Like, you wouldn't deliberately attach a meme where your receipts are gonna go. Like, they surely would understand that that's an accident. And if they fired you over that, that would be an extremely just horrible thing to happen. And I would be pissed on your behalf because I think it's ridiculous to fire people over just like very obvious, silly little mistakes, which that definitely was. But oh my God, I can empathize so much with that. I think that we can all empathize with that fear, right? Like every time I attach anything to an email, I worry about what I've attached to that email. And I don't have anything like not safe for work or anything in my phone anyway that I would accidentally attach to an email. But I do have like a lot of photos. But like I do have like a lot of like shirtless photos of Minhyuk from B2B. There's just a lot of stress involved with attaching things. We all go through it. But the actual doing it, especially when it's something about your butt, horror. Just horror. I also would have thrown up out of complete shock and fear on the spot. Like, I get you. The panic was so valid, so real. The relief that must have come over you when you got to the office and they told you it was funny would have been like, so like visible relief, I'm sure. I'm glad it all worked out, but God, yeah, worst mistake to make. Horrifying. Today, I effed up by calling my boyfriend a different name. My boyfriend and I were going on our usual evening walk. I was catching him up on my day and telling him about my conversation with my mom, how she was telling my niece that I no longer live with my mom and that I live with my boyfriend now. Except when I told it to him, I said my ex's name and not his name when I was retelling it. I corrected myself, but it was too late. He was already upset, which is understandable. I would be angry and hurt if it happened to me. The thing is, I have no idea why I said that. He was not on my mind at all, and yet his name slipped out. Now he isn't speaking to me, and I don't know what to do, and I feel terrible about it. Oh, yikes. Yeah, definitely not an ideal situation, is it? How does that slip up happen? How does that name come out of your mouth? Because you're living together. So you must have been in a relationship for long enough for the ex to have been like left behind ages ago. The only instance I have of this that's like anything similar to me is for some reason, like when I think about my therapist, I always think about my like old therapist's name. And I know they're different things. This is my therapist, not my partner, but it's really weird. I've had multiple therapists. The one I had for the longest amount of time, it's not ever her name that I think of. It's like my last therapist I had in New Zealand. I always think her name and have to correct myself when thinking about my current therapist. I don't know why. I have no idea why, because I know that that's not true, and it's been literally over 4 years since I spoke to that therapist. I have no idea why my brain does it. So I guess in a similar way, like sometimes names just stick for some reason. I don't know. There's an update though. We're good now. I apologize and did my best to reassure him, and I'm continuing to do so. I'm making sure I don't make that mistake again. I do not miss my past at all because it sucked, and I'm glad my boyfriend saw that. We've been together 4 years now, and this was the first time that ever happened. I still feel awful about it even happening at all, but I'm happy we can move forward. It's a first time offense, right? It's happened once and you've been together 4 years. So I understand how you can move through it. I feel like it's more just a shock thing for everyone involved because it is quite a shocking thing. You've been together 4 years. You would have broken up with your other partner for a while before that. So it's just such an odd thing to have just like come out of your mouth. So, you know, forgive and forget, right? Move on. But yikes. I think I'm definitely going to stop now. I don't think we need to do any more. So thank you very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I upload every few days and I would love to see you again soon. Massive thank you to my Sprout and Above patrons whose names are up on the screen right now. I appreciate you greatly. And a huge, huge thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons. Bobby, Josh, Mandy, Ikazel, Jessica, Eldo, Danielle, Elias, Chris, Samuel, Radsack, Mr. Noodle, Jonathan, and Bonbon. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining. If anyone else would like to become a patron, you go to patreon.com/SavvyCat or click the top link in the description. For as little as £1 a month, you get my videos a day early. And then for £3 and up, you get things such as outtakes, bonus mini podcasts, live streams, vlogs, and more. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok, The Queer Kiwi, and Twitter, That Queer Kiwi. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah.